Hey guys, and welcome to this video, the first episode of JDM Tours. So I'm actually here with Cap, who's behind the camera, and he's going to be chiming in now and then to give us a little bit more insight. As you can see, it is indeed Cap. It's not a lie. Okay, here you go. So Cap's mic'd up as well, and we are going to give you a full JDM tour of one of the most legendary JDM spots here in Japan, because a lot of you guys back home right now, because of Corona, you can't travel and you can't visit the places that you really want to go here in Japan. Aside from all the cool temples and stuff, of course, we all want to visit the amazing JDM legendary spots. And today we are here at Type 1. And in this video series, we're going to do a more in-depth look at all the different spots. So starting with Type 1, we'll see what there is to look at here, who we can talk to, and basically I'll just give you guys an outline of what to expect when you come here. So let's take a look. Let's just walk over here.
Hey, I'm ALBO, and I love JDM cars and culture. In each episode in this multi-channel crossover series, I'll go on car adventures around Japan with Captain Bradford from JDM Masters, along with our car club and fellow YouTubers Japonic, Samet, Dustin Williams, and others. Join us as we do car stuff, explore Japanese culture, and show you what it's really like in the land of the rising sun. This is our JDM life, and we are the Super JDM Bros.
この番組はご覧のスポンサーの提供でお送りしました。
As you can see, Type 1 is interesting because it is right in the center of Tokyo. This is actually one of the biggest streets in Japan. This is called Kanpachi Dori, and Type 1 is smack in the middle of a busy intersection. I mean, that just shows you how confident they are to be placed right in the middle of one of the biggest streets in Tokyo. They want it to be front and center. As soon as you come here, you can see this huge window and one of their cars, actually not the only one. And right inside here, you have the FK8, but right outside, you have another one of their demo cars. Actually, it's a loaner car. It's a Fit. And then if you come over here, you can see you can just drive straight in. But we're actually gonna come a little bit further down. You can actually see the craftsmen working as they rebuild pistons, as they rebuild engines. You can see all the head covers that are really, really nice and shiny. It's interesting because you can really see the professionalism of Japanese craftsmen who take whatever endeavor that they do, whatever their occupation is, they take it to a very, very high level of professionalism, cleanliness, and Spoon is famous for being extremely clean. It's almost like an F1 workshop. You can basically eat off the floor. All right, guys, so we are gonna go inside. I'm gonna take a look at some of the cars that we have over here. As you can see, when you come in, there are a relatively large garage bay. We have the Spoon N1, which is being worked on over here. This is their newest demo car, and we're gonna be able to take this car, I think next week from when I'm shooting this video, out for a couple of weeks just to drive it around and see what it's like. We also have the Spoon FK7, the S660, and this is actually Cap's car, the JDM Masters EK9.
Oh, ALBO, did you know the reason why they've made a window in front? It's facing the street. It's like a soba shop.
That's right. You had mentioned that before. So the reason Cap was saying, soba is a type of Japanese noodle, and a lot of soba restaurants here in Japan, they actually have a display so you can see them making the soba. It's quite interesting that they've taken that concept and transferred it directly to cars. And you can see them working on what are they working on right now, Cap?
It looks like he's working on, actually, let's go ask him.
Okay, let's just go inside and take a look. 入ってもいいですか? Hi. So it's like a clean room inside here. So let's take a look. 今何してるんですか?
これ FN2 のエンジン
FN2?
ケージなのでこれから来るので今準備してる
And you can see that they're working on an FN2 engine over here, setting up all the parts that they're going to work on. So it's very, very clean environment. Everything is in tip-top shape.
Always ask permission before you come in, as
So-
in Japan. Yeah. So those are the pistons, and they're being already weight balanced and honed, and the engine is also blueprinted, so it's going to be rebuilt. これがオーバーホールですか？
これは新品です。
新品。Ooh, so this is a brand new engine block, and they're going to make a brand new engine to spoon specs
For an FN2?
for an FN2
Wow.
Civic Type R
So cool.
before the current turbo versions. And here's the cylinder head, and this is where they install the spoil springs, the valves, and then also the camshafts, and then that is going to be attached after the pistons onto the engine block.
I like this. Look over here. You can see all the various Spoon S2000s up here, starting the very first one all the way to right. It's interesting. It's like how you would read Japanese from right to left. So they start with the oldest one on the right. Actually, that's not quite right. I think the one all the way on the left isn't necessarily the newest one, right? Actually, no, it is, because it has the new bumper. It has the new bumper. So let's go outside and take a look around at the rest of the shop. And while we are there, I'll tell you guys a little bit more about Spoon. You can see here that this is where they work on customer cars as well as the demo cars. And my car is here, actually. So you can see here, I've got the S2000 up on the lift. Today, they were just fixing a small issue with the upper control arm. And I'm gonna be doing the bushings and the diff mounts and the engine mounts. That's one of the interesting things about Type 1, which is that this is basically a regular garage where customers can take their cars to have them worked on. And you would imagine that Spoon being such a huge brand, getting your car worked on here at Type 1 would be quite expensive. But actually, it's almost the same price. In fact, actually sometimes even cheaper, depending on what you're doing, than getting the work done at an official normal Honda dealer. So I'm gonna be bringing the car back next week for a little bit more work, and it's just super cool to have my car done over here. But over here you can see, this is the new FK8. It is a new FK8? Yeah. This is the 2021. It has this little plastic part here that breaks apart the fake vent. But this FK8 doesn't have the full Spoon kit yet, which is why it's sitting here and why we're not gonna be able to take this out yet. Hopefully, once it has the full kit, we'll be able to take it out. But this is basically a brand new car. And right now it just has the Spoon stickers. Like I was saying, Type 1 is a garage where you can take your car to have it work done. But if you are a huge fan of Spoon, this is obviously basically like a museum. And if you came here and you just saw this little working area and you thought, is that it? Well, actually, there's an entire section upstairs which looks like it's a proper museum. So let's go upstairs and take a look. Hey guys, so now we are here at the second floor. And before we go inside, let me just tell you this area, the second floor might blow your mind if you are a Honda fan. Okay, let's just head inside. You can see that there are 3 lifts inside here. So this second floor is also actually another part of the work area, not just downstairs, but also upstairs that will work on the cars. How do they get the cars up here? They have an amazing lift. So they use this to bring cars up and down the whole day. And just walk around, you can just see, it's just Spoon and Honda memorabilia everywhere. So this is actually the engine from the NSX that competed in the Macau Grand Prix. And it's actually the engine that was in that, which we'll be talking about a little bit later. You can take a look over here. We have a whole bunch of Spoon bumpers, a couple from the FK8, one from the FD2, one from the S2000, which maybe someday I'll put on my own car, and then one from the NSX. Over here, we have the new N1, which we'll talk about a little bit later. And guys, let's just take this in. Like, look at the floors. That's one thing I can't get over, how clean this place is. This place just exudes that Japan level of cleanliness. Take a look over here. You can see that we have this huge mural with all these pictures. And if you look closely, these are actually all people from around the world who've come here on a sort of pilgrimage to the temple of VTEC. Like for example, if you look closely over here, this gentleman is standing with Ichishima-san, who is often here just wandering around. So he's kind of like a rare Pokemon who you might see here at Spoon or here at Type 1 every once in a while. If you look over here, there's actually a Polaroid and some markers. So you are free to come here and write your name or draw a picture or whatever, take a picture, put it on there. And that is one of the things that makes Type 1 one of the coolest tuner shops here in Japan, which is the level of hospitality that they bring to the culture. In Japan, there's this concept of omotenashi, which is basically this feeling of welcoming guests to Japan. And Spoon is one of the most hospitable tuners that I've ever been to, one of the most hospitable JDM legend brands that we know. And so definitely recommend coming here to check this out. And you can see over here, there's another wall. And this wall, you can also sign your name, you can leave stickers, leave a message, and basically you can become a part of the history of Spoon and Type 1. Because, you know, the cars are awesome, of course. The legends of the amazing races, which are forever solidified in history, are one thing, but it's all the people who are watching that actually make up the culture. You can also see here sometimes you will see some cars which are for sale. So Type 1 will sometimes purchase cars, or they'll buy a car which is kind of like, you know, within their sphere, and then they'll fix it up, they'll make it really nice, and then they'll sell it as essentially a Type 1 certified car. So you know, if you're gonna come here to purchase a Honda, you're gonna get a really good one if you buy one from Type 1. Oh, what do we have here? Look, we have Ichishima-san. Look at him. There he is. A little bit small today, a little bubblehead. And we also have his car, which over here is this restored Honda S800. This is the granddaddy of my S2000. Look at the condition it's in. It's just spectacular. And one of the things about Type 1 is that you're not always gonna see the same cars here. Today, we just happened to be super lucky, which is why we had to shoot this video. We had the S800, we had a couple customer cars, we had one that's for sale, we have this super rare, oh my God, S600 coupe, and we have the NSX, the Spoon NSX, and we have also Mr. Jomoto-san. Hey, good to see you, good to see you. So, you guys might have seen Jomoto-san in one of my previous videos. This isn't the first video we've done with Spoon, but this is the JDM Tour video. So, I was hoping, could you tell us a little bit about, like, what is the concept of Spoon?
Spoon is make fun. Spoon parts is make fun. So every Honda customer learning is very fun, but we provide more fun and passion. So we want to enjoy the car for every customer. And here, Type 1 is a service shop. Spoon make parts, but Spoon didn't make a service. But Type 1 can provide a service. Here is service shop for all Honda customers. Because, today is some sports type car, but Type 1 do the every Honda car. S2000, Civic, Integra, NSX, and all the car, all the Honda, and Step Wagon, Odyssey, every Honda. Well, we can do everything.
I see.
Yeah.
And you've been working with Spoon and Type 1 for almost your whole career, right? More than 20 years?
Ah, yes.
Wow. Later we'll show you a picture when he's with the original S2000, the first Spoon S2000. He's much younger and slimmer.
Yes.
And but look about the same, so Japanese people never age.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting that people can come here
Yes.
and just look around. I think some people are a little bit worried, you know, it's a business and it's
very famous. So a little bit. Some people might be a little bit nervous about coming here, but I feel Spoon is very welcoming for
Yes.
guests.
Yeah, of course.
Can you show us about the postcard?
This is we made this one.
You can come here and pick up one of these postcards, and you'll see the rules. So you can basically check out the first and second floor. You can see the pictures are allowed. There's a restroom on the second floor. There's some places which are restricted because of, secrets, Spoon secrets. And the other thing that's interesting is you can't buy parts here. Yes.
Every customer can buy the parts for your authorized dealer.
Yes.
We have an authorized dealer for whole world. So every customer can buy all parts for them's country.
So if you guys come here, the thing that you can get is the postcard. So make sure to pick up one of these postcards. And
free.
Yeah, it's free. And you can actually, it's actually like a Japanese style postcard. So you can send it back to your friend back home to make them jealous that you actually came here to Spoon. The most important thing you can bring back are memories and photos and to post on Instagram to make everybody jealous. Jomoto-san, are guests able to go to second floor, or is it off limits?
It's no. So second floor is a little bit dangerous.
I see.
So for customers' safety,
Yes.
Everybody cannot upstairs.
But for me, because I'm okay with danger, we're gonna check out upstairs. So you'll be able to see in this video a perspective that you could never see if you were to just come here as a guest. So it's okay, we'll go upstairs for a couple minutes. All right, let's check it out.
This is getting heavy.
It is, thank you. It's gonna get a famous YouTuber to carry your camera for you.
Stronger muscles after this.
Oh wow, look at all these parts. A lot of Spoon parts, a lot of genuine parts.
And some customers' parts.
So this is somebody's set of rigid collars.
Yes.
One of Spoon's famous parts.
Mochi oil.
we have some-
Mochi oil is the best.
Gotta watch your head over here. And guys, look at this view. Look at this. This is the Honda heaven. So usually this is also a storage for cars.
Yes.
The second floor.
Yeah. Also, NSX and S600.
Yep.
Generally, this floor.
I see.
But sometimes change showing the car.
I see. And the way the cars come up here is through the stairs, right?
Yeah.
Oh, over here we have an escalator.
Yeah. No, this is
elevator.
elevator. This one up and the same elevation and can go the car.
Wow, this must be pretty strong if it can support the cars. And what is this? I'm sure this is a very famous bumper as well.
Yeah. This is collection.
Famous hood. Collection. What car was this from?
Group A EG9.
Oh, EG9.
Yeah. Maybe JTCC.
Interesting. And we also have some steering wheels back here.
Yeah.
Just Jinsei OEM
Jinsei,
steering
yeah.
wheels. Okay. For AP1s.
MP1 CL7. Maybe EK9.
Oh. Why is this the steering wheel location? It's a mystery.
Easy to fit.
I see. Okay. Very practical. Okay, let's take a look downstairs again. Let's go back down. And we have these are probably the lockers for the staff.
Yes.
Staff lockers. Okay. And we have more parts here.
Wheel.
Ooh, SW388s.
And exhaust.
I see. Maybe I'll take one of these later, so I'll just take it home. Okay, so before we talk about the cars, we're also going to take a look over here at this display over here. Jomoto-san, can you tell us about these parts? Like what's available here to look at?
And this is for F20B for on Accord and Tonel. CF4. And,
S2000?
these are B16 or 18 type R. And this is H22. No, this is prototype.
Oh, prototype.
Yes, aluminum knuckle for S2000.
For S2000. Interesting.
Yes.
So it's 2021 and Spoon is still making new parts for the S2000.
All right, guys. So in part 2, we're gonna take a look at some of the cars here. I'm actually gonna take the camera because Cap has been holding this stabilizer and it's super heavy. And so I'm gonna be behind the camera and Cap's gonna be in front of the camera. And this is gonna be like a mini JDM Masters episode. So let's get started. All right, so here we have the legendary.
Am I legendary?
Yeah, this is your car, right? This is basically your car. This is the
almost.
JDM Masters EK9.
This is perhaps the ideal if I wanted to take a Civic Type R to the track. And what makes this car really special is that it's not only a full race-based model, which was actually sold back in the day as something that you don't see anymore. In the 80s and the 90s, you could buy a model without any of the creature comforts such as power windows, conditioning, ABS. It was just meant straight to be converted into a race car. In that day, they had something called the N1 and also the 1 make series. So a customer could actually buy a road car, register with a number plate, put in a roll cage, all the safety equipment, and take it racing. Now this Civic Type R EK9 is one of the examples of a Super Type 2 spec car done up by Spoon. And you can see here, this is a FRP style one. This is quite different from the ones that they sell on their parts. It doesn't have this vent, but this one does. But we're seeing an example of some prototype parts here. And you can tell because this is made from a body in white. As I explained in detail in one of my earlier videos, you see the gray here. It's painted purposely so you can see if there's any cracks. This is very typical in the race cars. The outside is painted with whatever colors that the livery of the team requires. And this engine is actually just a stock engine but rebuilt to fine accuracy with balanced parts. And really you don't need any more power once it's finely tuned. But you can see the paint is really new, and this is just a piece of history for Spoon, and also to give some joy to Honda fans who love these cars and want to see what a real race car looks like. And this is where it gets very interesting. Inside you will see a full kit that's welded in, and it's also a very good example to see how a race car is constructed. Now at the back you have the fuel cell, which is a larger capacity, of course, for endurance racing, and these are safety regulations. But the roll cage, as you can see, it's quite minimal, and it's welded into the body shell by regulations as well. And inside also is stripped of all things necessary, which is typical in a race car of the interior, except it has to maintain the main dashboard. The instrument cluster is replaced by a racing style one that has all of the necessary gauges, also for water temperature, oil pressure, and the speedometer and the rev counter. This is a one-off, obviously, no air conditioning, and you can see that it's just bare bones. But this is also proof that it's a race-based car. It doesn't have the red trim of the road models. This is from the base model with a wind-up window. So people who buy EK9s may actually encounter one of these race-based models. But let's also have a look at another very legendary race car.
Talking about some of these cars, this is a customer car.
This is a customer car. Down here, we have the NSX. Well, the NSX Type R is a road car that was sold between the 1992 and 2005. There were two iterations, the NA1 with the pop-up headlights. In 2002, they came up with an upgraded version following the facelift. and with a 3.2 liter engine. But this is a race car that's based on a racing shell, which means the body of an NSX that was not made for road registration, and Spoon has built up everything inside, from the body to the suspension to the engine, according to type specs. But something even more interesting, if you look at these body parts, the side vents here are bigger than normal, and the rear bumper is larger than normal, and so is the front spoiler on the front, which you can see. It is not the normal NSX Type R. In fact, it's based on the nsx-r GT, which was a homologation special made in 2005. Cool story behind this. They needed that to register and homologate for the Super GT regulations at that time. It should have another extra air scoop over here, but the road versions that was offered was 50 million yen, which just for the extra body parts, that's a bit crazy. They were supposed to be made of carbon fiber, and only 5 were offered for limited sale, but in reality only 1 got sold. There's a funny story about this. They made it so high a price because they never actually intended to sell it, but they had to give a sales document so that they could actually register it. One person who was an avid NSX collector actually paid that money and has the only legit version in existence. Now, this race car is very much a full NSX Type R. Not because it's not one of the road registered cars, but the NSX Type R in reality is actually producible if you know what you're doing. And so the interesting part about the history of this is that in 2009, Ikishima-san, the president of Spoon, campaigned an NSX Type R NA2 with the same livery for the very grueling street race Macau Grand Prix. There were several cars that were made during that time, and some of them went to America, and some of them became turbocharged. You can see in some videos over the internet, but this particular one was one of the spare cars that was now, like that Spoon Yukinan there, colored in the livery, put with the full roll cage and this fantastic one-off Spoon-made carbon fiber full interior to make it look exactly like the race car. Now this is a 1-to-1 scale model of the Spoon Macau Grand Prix car, which you can come here and see if you're lucky enough to, well, it's down here. What makes this car really unique is the ongoing effort to preserve their racing heritage and history by having it here where people can actually see and understand how race cars are actually built and how do they feel like. In fact, I'm going to have a seat in the driver's seat. It's going to be completely different from any of the Civic race cars. I expect it to be very low slung. Getting into a normal NSX is already quite an experience because you sat down really low, but this one has a huge roll bar right in front, the side, and I have to get in like this. Careful not to knock your head.
You're the pro at that. You're just so good.
Whew. You know what? Actually, it's not that much lower than a stock NSX because it's already so low, maybe by 15 or 20 millimeters. But as you expect in a supercar cockpit, you have everything ergonomically right where you need it. The height of the steering wheel, and you still have very good view through the front windscreen, all around. And this is very important in racing because you need to be able to aware of your surroundings. The height of the gear shift is very much where you need it to be, the right angle, and it's just a beauty to look at this bare bones carbon fiber interior, something you don't really see at all. And I don't think I'll ever sit in such a bare bones Spartan race car NSX. In fact, I don't believe there's another one like this. The other ones that you can probably see is in the Honda collection hall in Tochigi. But this is just a piece of history that if you love racing, you love JDM cars, you love Hondas especially, this is where you can really check it out and experience them.
Make sure to like the video if you want Cap to get an NSX one day.
There we go. I've already said it. Okay.
Could you tell us a little bit about
the S800 Coupe and the S660, S600?
Sure. These two classic S's are just in immaculate condition. I know that word is kind of overused these days on the internet, but truly this is one of the most well-kept S examples, probably rivaling those at the Honda Collection Hall. Now what's rare about this particular car is that it's a coupe. It only came up with the S600, finished in bright orange, restored. It's a private collection of the President Ijishima-san. The S600 is actually the second in line of the original S sports cars, the first being the S500. The motor, or the engine, is actually derived from a motorcycle engine, and it's placed at a very angled 45-degree bank. You see old school 1960s individual carburetor bodies. Now this thing could rev up to excess of 9,000 RPM, producing almost 100 horsepower per liter in a car that weighed barely 650 kilograms. Rear drive, it had two different types of rear drives. There was a motorcycle style chain on either side or a drive shaft. Honda, in those days, decided that if they wanted to make cars, they came from a history of making very high performance motorcycles, participated in MotoGP, and they decided, well, we want to make cars, why not make a proper sports car? And this was already something right from the start. Interestingly, the FR layout was not repeated until 1999 when they decided to make the successor. As you can see here, the S2000. There's a direct lineage between these two, but many, many, many years apart. The S800 that you see here is the last example of this S series before it went out of production in the 1970s. This is also a car that you can see we drive in my video. When Ijishima-san, we went to Hakone together. An open top convertible that's really enjoyable if you just want to have those classicals. But in order to really look good in this, you need one of those caps, the peak caps. I think you've got to be at least over 50 years old, but no.
You also need to be about 5 feet tall.
5 feet tall, because these things are really, really small.
You're almost 6 feet tall, right? And this is, you make it look.
But you know what? Even for such a small car, the footwell is really, really deep. I mean, look at this. I think I'm going to say this has more space than an S2000 in some ways.
I might tend to agree with you because it's quite spacious.
It is quite spacious in there. So if you guys enjoy this and you want us to check out some other cars, give us thumbs up in both our channels, and be sure to tune in to next time.
Oh, there's one more. Could you tell us a little bit about the Honda N1, which is downstairs?
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
That's right. Now, there is one more car that is probably very interesting for those of you who never get to see tiny K cars, which is a special category in Japan. Limited by length and width, but not in height. Also in engine capacity, 660 cc's is the maximum with 64 horsepower. This is a special category in Japan for what they call a light car, but this is very common in Japan. You'll see them everywhere. And within those restrictions, makers have actually did sports models. And the latest one over here is the S660's brother. That's the S660 over there. This is called the N1. The N name actually comes from the original front-wheel drive compact cars that Ijishima-san actually raced early in his career before starting Spoon. The modern N, as you can see, with its really cute round lights made to appeal to maybe ladies, but in this form. The newly released second generation N1 RS finally came with a 6-speed manual and a 3-cylinder turbocharged engine. No VTEC, but this is the next generation of easy to drive, but high power to weight ratio. Now the N1 is originally designed to be a normal commuter car, but due to popular demand for this sort of class for sporty cars, Honda has now updated it with a 6-speed manual. Now we tested the S660 Spoon version a while back, had 100 horsepower with a different turbocharger. So this is going to be the same spec in this, but with much more livability. You've got 4 doors, rear seats, trunk space, and a nice 6-speed manual.
It's very interesting. This almost feels like the more true spiritual successor to the EK9.
In a way. And I expect this to handle actually more nimbly because of its weight and size. But yeah, I mean, the Civic Type R FK8 is a huge car. It's got a lot of horsepower. I feel it's completely different, and you're right. This is actually going back to the lightweight concept of what Honda really stands for, you know. So we're going to be excited to test this out. Eco sports is maybe what's, you know, the way to move forward these days. The seat is really low. I can barely see over the bonnet.
And it is actually the full spoon bucket seat, which is very cool. You have the spoon steering wheel, and you got a whole bunch of spoon parts in here.
There's a cup holder. I've got 2 cup holders I couldn't have on the S660. So
perfect.
this already
Perfect.
wins in my dictionary.
But speaking of which, let's take a look at a couple more cars. You have the S660 over there. You do have the FK7, sorry, the FK7 and the FK8 over there. But the most interesting for you guys watching is probably the S660 because you just don't have it in your home countries, most likely.
This
Look
thing
at
is
this
so
thing.
tiny. I could stand in the middle and reach to either corner of this minuscule supercar. As the Targa top, the top comes off, mid-engine, spiritual successor to the Honda Beat, but also a sort of continuation of the S series. But this thing is fantastic. Made in limited numbers, half hand-built, and if you get into this, it's a micro supercar. The seating position is even lower than the NSX that we sat in upstairs. And I've driven this, in fact, we've both driven it. This thing is an absolute rally weapon on the mountain roads. It turns so quick.
This thing is the definition of a
Sharp.
pocket rocket. I love
This
it.
thing was faster than your S2000 in the Alpine.
I think it is.
Surprisingly, the power to weight ratio is amazing. It's going to be a rarity and something that's going to be very difficult for people overseas to get, but it will be very interesting. But of course, the FK7 and the FK is something that's available around the world. If you want some detailed look into it, we'll be producing some of the videos on the FK8. We have ones on the FK7. Make sure to look in the link below of the driving experience of that. So that wraps it up for today. Next time we come here, maybe there'll be even more interesting cars from the history, maybe the EG6 or maybe even the Super Tyco S2000. So until next time, guys, peace out.
Okay guys, hope you enjoyed this tour of Type 1. It's always super exciting and super fun to come here to see what cars there are and just to see how hospitable they are, and just to be part of that is really, really cool. So hopefully you guys enjoy it. Where should we go next, Cap?
You
In
know
a
what?
future
should
JDM
go-
Tours video.
We should go to Mines.
That'd be cool. There's a lot of cool tuna shops, and if you guys like this video, let us know in the comments below, and we'll make plans to head over there. So thank you so much for introducing us to these cool cars, and thank you guys for watching, and we'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.